Welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going over the final video in my category breakdown series, which is Best Picture. If you're new to this series, I'm going to put this video on a playlist with 23 other videos, so all 24 categories that this year's Academy Awards are going to be in there, so you can go back and look at any of those if you want to see my predictions or my thoughts or my analysis for anything. But basically, just a quick rundown of what this series is just for the last 3 years I've taken a look at every single individual category, and we take a look at all of the nominees, plus all of the individual artists that are nominated alongside the film in that specific category. So in this for Best Picture, we're talking about all the producers that are nominated alongside the film. After talking about the film for a little bit, then I'm going to give you my personal rank, how I would rank them in this category, 1 through 10, but pretty much like how I would vote for them, what my preferential ballot order would be. And then after that, I'm going to give you my prediction for how likely it is that I think they win the Academy Award today, March 15th. Now, one quick kind of caveat on this video is typically how I've done it in the past, is I talk about the films and then we give kind of a little bit of a ramble about the film and why it's worthy and stating its case in the category. At this point, I have talked about all 10 of these films extensively multiple times on the channel, including in a video that, actually, I'm going to put the link to that video in the description because that's not actually, in the 2026 category breakdown video, but I did a Best Picture crash course video where I went into like way more depth about these films individually. All I really want to do on this one is we're going to, again, spend the time talking about the producers and their previous nomination history, but then we're going to be really brief talking about the films, because again, I've already talked about them extensively. There's not a whole lot more I can add at this point. So without further ado, let's take a look at the nominees.
Begonia, Ed Guiney and Andrew Lowe, Yorgos Lanthimos, Emma Stone, and Lars Knudsen. Producers.
This is Ed Guiney's 4th Oscar nomination. He was nominated in 2024 for producing Poor Things, in 2019 for producing The Favorite, and in 2016 for producing Room. This is Andrew Lowe's 2nd Oscar nomination. He was nominated in 2024 for producing Poor Things. This is Yorgos Lanthimos' 6th Oscar nomination. He was nominated in 2024 for producing and directing Poor Things, in 2019 for producing and directing The Favorite, and in 2017 for writing The Lobster. This is Emma Stone's 7th Oscar nomination. She won for Best Actress in 2024 for Poor Things, and for Best Actress in 2017 for La La Land. She was also nominated for Best Actress this year for Begonia, for Best Supporting Actress in 2019 for The Favorite, and in 2015 for Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, and in 2024 for producing Poor Things. This is Lars Knudsen's 1st Oscar nomination. Begonia was nominated for Best Picture at the Critics' Choice Awards, the Golden Globe Awards, and the PGA Awards. So Begonia, it is a blast, it is a fun time, it is another creation from Yorgos Lanthimos, Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, this trio that has been working so well and continues to kind of put out great films. It's just another kind of chapter in that series for them. And again, it's a whole lot of fun. It's a film that I think had a moment where I don't know if people really thought it was an Oscar player, and then all of a sudden it had a little moment where it was surging and it seemed like maybe it was like could be a real big Oscar player. Then it's since kind of tempered out. I don't think anyone is predicting Begonia to win any Oscars. I think it's nominated for four or five, probably 4. But yeah, it's so down in all of its categories, it's probably not going to win anything. It's still awesome that it kind of got the nomination and had some success here, but I really don't see this having really any shot of winning in this category, or again, like any of its other categories. For my personal rank, I'm putting Begonia in 6th. And for my prediction, I'm putting it in 8th.
F1, Chad Omen, Brad Pitt, Didi Gardner, Jeremy Kleiner, Joseph Kosinski, and Jerry Bruckheimer, producers.
This is Chad Omen's 1st Oscar nomination. This is Brad Pitt's 8th Oscar nomination. He won for Best Supporting Actor in 2020 for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and in 2014 for producing 12 Years a Slave. He was also nominated for producing The Big Short in 2016 and Moneyball in 2012. He was also nominated for Best Actor for Moneyball in 2012, as well as in 2009 for The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. He was also nominated for Best Supporting Actor in 1996 for 12 Monkeys. This is Didi Gardner's 9th Oscar nomination. She won in 2017 for Moonlight, and in 2014 for 12 Years a Slave. She was also nominated in 2025 for Nickel Boys, in 2023 for Women Talking, in 2019 for Vice, in 2016 for The Big Short, in 2015 for Selma, and in 2012 for The Tree of Life. This is Jeremy Kleiner's 8th Oscar nomination. He won in 2017 for Moonlight, and in 2014 for 12 Years a Slave. He was also nominated in 2025 for Nickel Boys, in 2023 for Women Talking, in 2019 for Vice, in 2016 for The Big Short, and in 2015 for Selma. This is Joseph Kosinski's first Oscar nomination. This is Jerry Bruckheimer's second Oscar nomination. He was also nominated in 2023 for producing Top Gun Maverick. F1 was nominated for Outstanding Producer of Theatrical Motion Pictures at the PGA Awards. Now, it seems like every year in Best Picture, there's always one film that everyone is pretty quick to kind of pounce on as saying, like, that shouldn't have been nominated, or that is, like, the weak link in the Best Picture lineup. You know, when you have Emilia Perez, or Don't Look Up, or Elvis, or I kind of just think back to some of the, like, every year it feels like there's always one that, especially film Twitter, it kind of jumps on and just declares that that's kind of the weak link of the category. It really felt like F1 was that film because it was kind of clearly the 10th film that just kind of snuck in there over, it was just an accident right at the end. And so I think that's also part of it, why there's a lot of hatred for F1 in the category, is because people would have rather had it was just an accident. But for me personally, I still like the film. I still think it's a good, fun film. I don't know if I would have gone as far as to, say that it had to be nominated for Best Picture, but I think that for this being the weak link or whatever, in the category, it's still a film that I like and I enjoy, so I'm glad it got the nomination. For my personal rank, I'm putting F1 in 9th, and for my prediction, I'm putting it in 10th.
Frankenstein, Guillermo del Toro, J. Miles Dale, and Scott Stuber, producers.
This is Guillermo del Toro's 8th Oscar nomination. He won for Best Animated Feature in 2023 for Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. He also won twice in 2018 for producing and directing The Shape of Water. He was nominated for producing Nightmare Alley in 2022. He was also nominated in screenplay categories this year for Frankenstein, in 2018 for The Shape of Water, and in 2007 for Pan's Labyrinth. This is J. Miles Dale's 3rd Oscar nomination. He won in 2018 for The Shape of Water. He was also nominated in 2022 for Nightmare Alley. This is Scott Stuber's 1st Oscar nomination. Frankenstein was nominated for Best Picture at the Critics' Choice Awards, the Golden Globe Awards, and the PGA Awards. And Frankenstein's another one that I've also kind of seen that sentiment a little bit about, like, people acting, I just saw a video because someone on Twitter posted like the 2015 Oscar Best Picture introductions, and someone had a tweet of like, oh wow, they really just let anything, and let anything into the Oscars that year, because I think they were mad about American Sniper being in there. But then someone like kind of quote tweeted that or replied to that and was just like, well, they let F1 and Frankenstein in this year, so it's no different. And then that tweet had so many because it was just like so many people agreeing that like F1 and Frankenstein were the weak links. And I just find it fascinating to think that Frankenstein is a film that I think a lot of people, or some people, view as kind of this like real weak link. Because if you think about it, Frankenstein is going to come away with the 3rd most Oscars today at the ceremony, because you're going to have Sinners and One Battle After Another as your top 2 getters. And then it's going to be Frankenstein and K-Pop Demon Hunters are going to be like right on the tail as the next most awarded films. So kind of crazy. So I think that maybe people don't think of Frankenstein as like Best Picture worthy because of the script or because of the acting or the direction or whatever, which again, it was nominated in all those categories, so clearly it was, I guess not directing, but it was nominated in most of those categories, and so obviously it was good. But Frankenstein really kind of excels, and it's the tech player. Every year it feels like there's a Best Picture nominee that kind of gets in because it's a tech player. That's what Frankenstein's been. So it's kind of funny, like I think that it's going to win the 3rd most amount of Oscars, but I really don't think it's got great chances at all at actually winning Best Picture. For my personal rank, I'm putting Frankenstein in 7th, and for my prediction, I'm putting it in 7th.
Hamnet, Liza Marshall, Pippa Harris, Nicholas Gonda, Steven Spielberg, and Sam Mendes, producers.
This is Liza Marshall and Nicholas Gonda's 1st Oscar nomination. This is Pippa Harris's 2nd Oscar nomination. She was nominated in 2020 for 1917. This is Steven Spielberg's 24th Oscar nomination. He won for Best Director in 1999 for Saving Private Ryan, and in 1994 for Schindler's List, which he also won for producing. He was nominated for producing Maestro in 2024, The Fabelmans in 2023, West Side Story in 2022, The Post in 2018, Bridge of Spies in 2016, Lincoln in 2013, War Horse in 2012, Letters from Iwo Jima in 2007, Munich in 2006, Saving Private Ryan in 1999, The Color Purple in 1986, and E.T. the Extraterrestrial in 1983. He was nominated for Best Director in 2023 for The Fabelmans, in 2022 for West Side Story, in 2013 for Lincoln, 2006 for Munich, 1983 for E.T. the Extraterrestrial, 1982 for Raiders of the Lost Ark, and in 1978 for Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He was also nominated for Best Original Screenplay in 2023 for The Fabelmans. This is Sam Mendes' fifth Oscar nomination. He won in 2000 for directing American Beauty. He was also nominated 3 times in 2020 for producing, directing, and writing 1917. Hamnet won for Best Motion Picture Drama at the Golden Globe Awards. It was also nominated for Best Picture at the BAFTAs, the Critics' Choice Awards, and the PGA Awards. And Hamnet is actually really kind of fascinating here just in this video, this discussion, because again, there's such a clear top 2 that I guess this is a little bit of a spoiler. I think Hamnet is number 3 in terms of like winning Best Picture, and I still think it has absolutely no shot. Like there is no shot that it wins. It's just such a heavy front 2. But Hamnet does feel like it's because it has, Jessie Buckley going for it, and then it's in a couple categories, casting, and casting's really only like the good one that you can really do, because I mean it's in other categories that it could maybe pull off a miracle upset win, but the problem is it would, in a lot of its categories, it would have to either beat Sinners or One Battle After Another in categories that those films have kind of already claimed as like locked. And so again, I don't think, obviously there's not a great path for Hamnet, but I still think, again, for the film being in the position it is, I still think it's higher up on the chance of getting the win. It's just not going to happen. For my personal rank, I'm putting Hamnet in second, and for my prediction, I'm putting it in third.
Marty Supreme, Eli Bush, Ronald Braunstein, Josh Safdie, Anthony Koutagis, and Timothy Chalamet, producers.
This is Eli Bush's second Oscar nomination. He was also nominated in 2018 for Lady Bird. This is Ronald Braunstein's third Oscar nomination. He was also nominated this year for writing and editing Marty Supreme. This is Josh Safdie's fourth Oscar nomination. He was also nominated this year for directing, writing, and editing Marty Supreme. This is Anthony Koutagis' second Oscar nomination. He won in 2014 for 12 Years a Slave. This is Timothy Chalamet's fourth Oscar nomination. He was nominated for Best Actor this year for Marty Supreme, in 2025 for A Complete Unknown, and in 2018 for Call Me By Your Name. Marty Supreme was nominated for Best Picture at the BAFTAs, the Critics' Choice Awards, the Golden Globe Awards, and the PGA Awards. And Marty Supreme's another one that's had a very kind of fascinating trajectory in the sense of, before, like in the precursors, it had so clearly established itself kind of in the top 5. Like there was 5 films. Obviously it was the 2 big frontrunners that we're going to get to in a second, like Hamnet, Marty Supreme, and Frankenstein. Like that was your top 5 films that were just guaranteed locks, getting in everywhere, getting multiple nominations, and then those were kind of 5 of the films that really kind of dominated in nomination totals. But then it seems like ever since then, and then, Timmy wins at the Critics' Choice and he wins at the Globe, and then it's not like the film has just been on a downward trajectory. It hit a brick wall. Like it didn't get, I think it even kind of started a little bit maybe in the nominations where it didn't get Odessa Zion, who was kind of pretty heavily predicted, as a lot of people really had her in there. And then it just kind of hit a brick wall and it just stopped. And it feels like the momentum has kind of stopped for this film. So this was a film that I think a couple months ago would have fared a whole lot better. But now with, I don't even necessarily even want to say like the controversies or whatever with Timothy Chalamet. Obviously Josh Safdie himself kind of has some controversies. But I think it's not even like that isn't necessarily all that big of a factor. I just think that the film itself maybe has lost a little bit of goodwill. I still think there's a chance that Timothy Chalamet wins actor. Like I'm not completely ruling that out, so it can get that. But outside of that, like maybe a win. Outside of that, it's not going to be favored in any category, and it's going to be really hard for it to pull off any sort of upset wins. So it kind of seems crazy. At one point, this was one of the top films, like in the locks with the other Best Picture leaders, and then now it's kind of where it is kind of fallen off a little bit. For my personal rank, I'm putting Marty Supreme in 4th, and for my prediction, I'm putting it in 6th.
One Battle After Another. Adam Somner, Sarah Murphy, and Paul Thomas Anderson, producers.
This is Adam Somner's second Oscar nomination, and is a posthumous nomination after his death in 2024. He was also nominated in 2022 for Licorice Pizza. This is Sarah Murphy's second Oscar nomination. She was also nominated in 2022 for Licorice Pizza. This is Paul Thomas Anderson's 14th Oscar nomination, and he is still looking for his first win. He was nominated 2 other times this year for directing and writing One Battle After Another, 3 times in 2022 for producing, writing, and directing Licorice Pizza, twice in 2018 for producing and directing Phantom Thread, in 2015 for writing Inherent Vice, 3 times in 2008 for producing, directing, and writing There Will Be Blood, in 2000 for writing Magnolia, and in 1998 for writing Boogie Nights. One Battle After Another won for Best Picture at the BAFTAs, the Critics' Choice Awards, the Golden Globe Awards, and the PGA Awards. Now, I'm kind of glad that this comes first alphabetically as opposed to the other film because, again, this is a two-horse race. One Battle After Another has won every precursor. Like, it's so hard to not give it the win. But that other film has such a great, like, for the fact that it has none of the precursor wins because One Battle After Another won everything, the other film, Sinners, does have such a great narrative going for it. And I painted a couple episodes ago, or a couple, videos ago in this series. I'm trying to remember which video it was. I was talking about, it was probably director, because I was talking about how Paul Thomas Anderson is in that category, even with Sinners kind of coming on. And I painted this picture. I said, okay, here is the potential blueprint. Like, this is what happens if Sinners, wins song, or if it wins cinematography, or if it wins editing, if it steals a category that it's not supposed to win, and then if it gets Wunmi Masaku as well, and then if it gets Michael B. Jordan, it's going to have screenplay. I still don't think Coogler is going to win. I still think that's locked for Paul Thomas Anderson. But I was painting this picture of, like, if all of this happens, here's how Sinners could win Best Picture. And I painted it in this very kind of, like, tinted view of, like, I don't actually believe this is going to happen, but here is the optimistic look of seeing it if you're rooting for Sinners. And then after I posted that video, and I'm not saying that people saw my video, obviously I know people didn't see my video because it's a general consensus thing, but it felt like it was after I posted that video, I started seeing other people making that sentiment. I heard, listened to the Next Best Picture podcast, and I think they all stuck with One Battle After Another, but they were acknowledging the possibility of that. Then I watched, the Oscar Expert with Brother Bro and Matt Neglia, their video. Both, the Oscar Expert and Brother Bro, they initially picked Sinners. They've both posted a video since switching back to One Battle After Another. So it seems like it's one of those things where I think there's a lot of people that are taking it seriously, but I don't know if people have, if it's they don't have the guts to pull it, or it's like they see this path happening, but then they back off because they take another look at what One Battle After Another has done. So for me, I do think there is still a chance. I'm not completely ruling out Sinners, but I just can't really predict anything other than One Battle After Another at this point. For my personal rank, I'm putting One Battle After Another in third, and for my prediction, I'm putting it in first.
The Secret Agent. Emily Leclau, producer.
This is Emily Lesklaus's first Oscar nomination. The Secret Agent was nominated for Best Motion Picture Drama at the Golden Globe Awards. And The Secret Agent is kind of funny in this category because it hasn't been nominated at a whole lot of other precursors, other than Golden Globes that loved it because they gave it International Film and they gave it Wagner Moura for Best Actor. So it's one of those that's like, at this point in the race, it hasn't been in a lot of precursors, so maybe on one hand you want to put it a little bit lower. For me, I almost feel like putting it higher in the chances of winning. Again, it doesn't have a chance of winning because it's a two-horse race, but I'm putting it higher because I haven't seen it lose, or I haven't seen it lose momentum. It's like it's been winning everything it's supposed to win. So I still think that there is a lot of strength for the film. I still haven't decided yet if I'm picking it for international film tomorrow or not. I saw Guillermo del Toro had a tweet about saying, again, one more time, let's make history for Brazil tomorrow, or something like that. And when I saw it, it was like within a couple hours of him posting it, and it was like tens of thousands of like the tweet was viral. Like, it was a lot of people liking it. And so it's one thing I can't shake the love that people have for The Secret Agent, and the passion, especially coming from Brazil. I remember last year the love they had for Fernando Torres. Like, they really come out and they support their films, and they give it such great buzz and word of mouth that I think that really does kind of carry it, and especially in a preferential ballot setting. I think a lot of international voters are going to have this very high up on their list, and so it doesn't have a chance at winning because there's only two films that do have a chance at winning, but I think I'm putting it up a little bit higher in my prediction than I thought I was going to, and I'm really tempted to switch to it before the ceremony, so we'll see what I end up doing there. For my personal rank, I'm putting The Secret Agent in 8th, and for my prediction, I'm putting it in 5th.
Sentimental Value, Maria Eckerhout and Andrea Bertinson Otmar, producers.
This is Maria Eckerhout and Andrea Bernstein Otmar's first Oscar nomination. Sentimental Value was nominated for Best Picture at the BAFTAs, the Critics' Choice Awards, the Golden Globe Awards, and the PGA Awards. And here's the other film that it's contending with. It's so hard for me to, deny Sentimental Value because it was so beloved, obviously, with the Academy. It has so many wins, so many nominations. But again, like we just saw last year, and like I talked about in my international episode, that we just saw this last year with I'm Still Here and Emilia Perez, where it doesn't really matter the nomination total if you're both in Best Picture. I think if only one of these was in Best Picture, it would be super easy. But the fact that they both get in, I don't think you can use kind of like nomination totals as a tiebreaker anymore. I think it's really because the film that has less nominations could still be the bigger word of mouth or the bigger, more beloved film, just have more support within the industry. And so I think there's a chance that Sentimental Value, even though it has more nominations, the more I'm talking about this, the more I'm kind of leaning The Secret Agent. But again, that's a video for later today. We'll get the final predictions uploaded. So, but for now, I'm kind of keeping it right in the middle of the pack. I don't think this really has a chance at winning, but I think it has a better chance than a lot of the other films we've talked about. For my personal rank, I'm putting Sentimental Value in 5th, and for my prediction, I'm putting it in 4th.
Sinners. Zinzi Kugler, Sev Ohanian, and Ryan Coogler, producers.
This is Zinzi Kugler and Sev Ohanian's first Oscar nomination. This is Ryan Coogler's 5th Oscar nomination. He was nominated twice this year for directing and writing Sinners, in 2023 for Best Original Song from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and in 2021 for producing Judas and the Black Messiah. Sinners was nominated for Best Picture at the BAFTAs, the Critics' Choice Awards, the Golden Globe Awards, and the PGA Awards. I think I'm going to be kind of extra brief here with the Sinners just because I pretty much talked about it in the one battle after another section. But yeah, Sinners, I think there's a great chance, and I think I guess I shouldn't say great, I think there is a chance, but part of the reason I'm also kind of hesitant on picking it and why I maybe don't want to pick it is because if the scenario I think could happen does happen, I want to be surprised, I want to be happy, I want to be kind of caught off guard. I think this Oscar season has the potential of being very predictable, which in a sense can be kind of boring if you view it that way. And so I kind of want there to be this element, I don't want it to be a thing where I'd go out on a limb and predict it and then kind of maybe, not that I would be disappointed, because Sinners is my favorite film of the year, One Battle After Another is my third favorite of the year. They're both amazing films. I would love for either one of them to win. So I think I'm just going to kind of do that. I'm going to stick with the frontrunner. I'm going to stick what's the obvious, seems like it should win in One Battle After Another, and I will just be thrilled and make for a great reaction video if Sinners does pull off the crazy upset win. For my personal rank, I'm putting Sinners in 1st, and for my prediction, I'm putting it in 2nd.
Train Dreams, Marissa McMahon, Teddy Schwarzman, Janowitz, Ashley Schlafer, and Michael Heimler, producers.
This is the first Oscar nomination for all 4 of Marissa McMahon, Will Janowitz, Ashley Schlafer, and Michael Heimler. This is Teddy Schwartzman's 2nd Oscar nomination. He was also nominated in 2015 for The Imitation Game. Train Dreams was nominated for Best Picture at the Critics' Choice Awards and the PGA Awards. And Train Dreams is another just beautiful film. I'm really glad that it kind of hung on and got the nomination, because this year feels kind of crazy, where it feels like there were so many great films, so many top contenders, but then looking at the bottom of the list, it felt like there was constantly, for the last little bit before nomination season, it felt like, between this and F1, it was just an accident. I guess you can kind of lump them together, like Begonia. There was multiple films that felt like they were never really locked into Best Picture, but there was just never a great group, I think, of contenders. I think Weapons, it was probably kind of in that mix, but it obviously only got 1. Wicked for Good was in that mix, but then obviously it got nothing. Avatar only ended up getting 2 nominations. A lot of those films that should have been the potential contender films just never got it going. And so I'm glad that Train Dreams was able to hang on and one of those films didn't take its spot, because it is very worthy and a very beautiful film, well acted, well crafted. It is absolutely worthy of the recognition it got in Best Picture, even if there's no chance it has it winning. For my personal rank, I'm putting Train Dreams in 10th, and for my prediction, I'm putting it in 9th.
Congratulations to all of this year's nominees.
And that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know down below in the comments what you think of this category, who you're rooting for, and do you have the guts to pick the Sinners upset, or are you sticking with one battle after another? Let me know all of that down below in the comments. And again, thank you so much for watching this video, but not just this video, but the entire category breakdown series that I've been uploading over the last like 3 weeks or so. I tried something a little bit different this year. Last year I did a video a day, essentially like leading from around nominations to the Oscars. This year I wanted to do it a little bit different, where I wanted to kind of upload them all really close to the actual award ceremony so that there isn't a whole lot of changes, because last year I noticed I did so many of the early videos and then I was changing things once, you know, we understood the categories more with some of the precursors. So I kind of really rushed it all this year at the end, which was by design, but I definitely, I mean, I guess let me know down below in the comments if you like that, but I think personally, I think I want to go back to what I did last year. For next year, I'm going to go back to what I did, where there's probably a video a day, and we're going to extend it and actually, you know, not kind of cram it all at the end. We'll stretch it out so there's more time to upload and to digest and to look at the categories. But that's just a little heads up for next year. But again, thank you so much for watching any of the videos that you did in this series. I do greatly appreciate it. And if you'd like to like this video and then subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos in any of the other series that I have going on my channel, including my final Oscar predictions and Oscar reaction video that will be coming later today as well, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.